So hello and welcome to episode 15 of Nightmare Down Under, the GearCity Let's Play, where we play on Nightmare difficulty Down Under in Australia. We started in 1900, now it is December 1932, and we're in the midst of the Great Depression. So we're doing still reasonably well in terms of cash flow. It's slightly negative, but only because we are redesigning a factory. So we have one factory left, so we closed the other factory because we had way too much production capacity and would have to pay something like 200 or 300,000 per month just to keep it open. Sales have a little bit recovered over time, so we are now utilizing up to 3 production lines, but only for our surprise hit this year, a microcar. Most others use 2 or 1 lines, and we still have a couple lines available if sales pick up again. Last episode we finished the new long wheelbase platform, and so now we're going to design the first car on that, because the last one was from 1920, so all cars that are based on it will get an age penalty from 1935 onwards, so now we have to redesign everything on the long wheelbase. And the first one will always be the full-size sedan, because there we have the biggest markup. So it's simply a new ladder frame on the longer wheelbase. We designed a new engine, a 2-liter inline 4 with 32 horsepower, since we got some reports that the old cars were severely underpowered, and this should alleviate that. And we had designed a 4-speed gearbox and a 3-speed with overdrive. So here I'm using the 4-speed, and the 3-speed with overdrive will be then more for the mid-range cars. So this was, I think, something like what we had before. And yeah, this is the new style of body for the 1930s, I guess, and I think that's something we can go with. So this is still the old stuff. These are very small cars actually for full size. This is something with wood stuff in the end that's more for sort of luxury or whatever. Here are more of these. So what's the cargo space? 1118, 1114, so it's basically all the same cars. 1114, yeah, so that doesn't really matter. I think that's what we had before. Old style, one more. 1160, so it's a little bit larger. So maybe we can use this for a future upgrade, and then we start with this, or yeah, then these don't matter, and then if we need to, we can then earmark the one that has 40 liters more of cargo for an upgrade. That certainly doesn't make or break things. So we keep material quality not too low, but not too high either, since I think we still want to compete on price, not so much on comfort or features. So they like luxury, so I'm not reducing this to the minimum acceptable quality. I would probably get penalties, but it's still pretty low. Market demographic still makes things worse, so no thank you. And then let's see what they like. So reliability, 29, 33, cargo space, 30, 31, okay. Performance, 32, here is a low 32. It's probably some kind of sweet spot. They seem to like safety. 33. Some more 34, no, that's too high. 24, 33. 35, 33 with some extra reliability. That looks good. So some stuff really matters. Does this matter? Yes. Okay, so we are exactly at the tipping point, so I suspect more interior quality. Yeah, it hardly does anything. Okay. So 698 material cost. The old one was 598, so this is a bit more expensive, but I guess that's the price to pay for a new platform, and we can, in further facelift, simply make things cheaper, as all the components tend to be more cheap the more we actually produce something. So 13 months for a bit under a million, 14 months 750,000, 12 months for 1.4 million. So let's go with 13. That's fine. Come on. Okay. Can we maybe adjust some of these a little bit so that the costs go down? It doesn't really matter that much. Okay, so what are we getting? 32 horsepower, 93 torque, fuel consumption 17.4 liters, top speed 83, and a weight of 1.4 tons. So it's a 32. I think we're on the safe side if we use the numbers actually. Because if we use this in a touring or a grand coupe, then we're running out of space. And this is then on the safe side, so still naming the cars after the horsepower. Okay, now let's build this. And yeah, then we wait. Play around with the sales figures as usual. So have things changed? Nope, everything pretty stable, positive cash flow, despite us building the factory. And nothing where I need to make immediate adjustments. Of course, new year, so always very interesting in these times. Who is still making a profit? Many are not. And I think some of them, so minus 40 million loss, or 40 million loss with 60 million of cash on hand. So that's some candidates for failing or for being bought. Oh, here GoTac, minus 33 million here and just cash reserves of 30, less than 30. How many are actually making profits? Oh, we are one of 3 companies in the world actually making profits. Where is MEF? Let me just check on the world map. That's just interesting why one company is so great and others are not. They are from Detroit. And I don't look anything special really. Anyway. So if we look at our sales figures, first a year, yeah, so we're still making a profit and have been all the time. So that's, I think, very encouraging. Sales charts, so they slowly point sort of upwards with the big microcarp jumping up. Yep, so we sold 711, and that's, I think, not more than double. No, it is, because the Phaeton also still sells pretty well. It has pretty high material costs compared to the others, or not that much revenue. Let me just check something. Where I'm selling them. Yeah, so 200 in Sydney for 803 unit costs and making a profit. Auckland. So what we maybe should do is make them a bit more expensive. Let's see what kind of impact that has. The microcar is now more expensive than the compact, which doesn't really make sense. So let's play around a little bit with this. So what kind of effect this has. Otherwise, yeah, so one thing that's definitely to note is that car development projects take longer and also more costly. Has this any substantial effect? Now we make a few less microcars and sell a few less compacts, but that's not that problematic. New vehicle body. How about top selling cars the last month? Nope, ours isn't in here, but how about the microcar? So there are a few. It's 5. Yeah, so it's in the already top 10 of all-time microcar sales. So we seem to have something rather exceptional in our hands. So we can really adjust production just a little bit so that we don't get too much extra reserves. So some less Grand Coupés. Phaetons. Need I do something? Oh, we got a very cheap competitor. That's why. And I think we can go a little bit lower, since it's still above unit cost, at least in Sydney. They will be higher in Auckland, for instance, or in Perth due to distribution costs and import tax. As long as we are above the manufacturing cost is fine, then the extra revenue helps address the overhead, and if we're above unit costs, then we are golden anyway. We can still make some 400 overall just. $170 compacts. It's less cars, but with a bit more profit margin. Less 16LX. Tourings are good microcars 600. How are our unit costs looking? 199 I think is pretty acceptable for how many production lines we have to run at half essentially, and cash flow is great. Despite having one factory reconstruction going on, so I guess the microcar is helping quite nicely. And microcar sales actually picked up again. Phaeton sales also picked up, but we have plenty of reserves. So here I think we should just increase microcar production back to 800. Full-size sedan in 10. So they're fluctuating a little bit, but we're selling more Tourings. I think we're selling more stuff in general, but maybe that's just the fluctuation. So 700 microcars are probably good. I leave all the rest, because maybe this will go down again. And then we have a few less reserves, which is fine. And if not, then I can up production again. Nope, that's a consistent upward trend, so we need to improve things. So 350 18 sedans. $500 Phaetons. That reduction in sales helped. 350 16 sedans. $416 Touring. That one's recovering nicely. Okay, so some more adjustments needed. New contracts, nothing for us. So 200 compacts. $416 sedans. Sedan production is picking up nicely. Let's check whether they finally streamlined their lineups. I think they had something like Hoopsie had 4 sedans across 3 marks selling or something. Let's see how they are doing. So the Micro 8 has turned a profit, but I think they are a bit conservative in terms of how they actually calculate the profit. So Touring, the Hoopsie saw is still on sale. I'm interested in sedan. Yeah, so they only have 2 now for Hopesy, and we're nicely outselling them. And here they have 3, and Jameson Farewell also has 1, but that's Perth. That doesn't matter. Yeah, so Hopesy has cleared up their lineup, making our life a bit easier in terms of sales, so we can see how our sales picked up. There's also, of the remaining 2 models, I was a bit of a wild fluctuation here, but our upward trend is more pronounced than there, so that's good. I'm still sticking to the only one big R&D project at a time. Manual limitation that I'm setting as a sort of house rule, because during these trying times, we probably wouldn't really necessarily be willing to invest suddenly in big R&D despite having competition. I might relax that rule or work something out once it seems to become untenable. At the moment, it seems to be pretty tenable. So 550 Phaetons, so Phaeton sales are picking up. 16 sedan sales are down, so 350. Guess they are probably playing around with prices too. 650 microcars. Let's check the Phaeton sales. Probably certainly is as good as any. Yeah, they have issues with the supply, and our sales are pointing upwards. More 1818 Tourings. That's the top-end Touring model. 320. Next production line. That's nice. What are our unit costs like? Still 199 despite all the adjustments, so that is, I think, reasonably acceptable. Now a bit of a slump again in some parts. 250 18 sedans. 500 Phaetons. Some are more stable than others. So sedan ready in 4, well, now in 3 after this processing round. Can make a few more 16 sedans and a few less 16 touring. So surprisingly uneventful for these times of the Great Depression. Yeah, they can get benefits, but I think simply because we are extremely well off, and this looks like a big increase in sales because we have hardly any reserves left. Yes, that's true. Why is that? Is that a competitor exit or just a market that's recovering? So 318 sedans. We have somehow less production than advertised. Grand Coupe 188. Is there something wrong? No. Oh, that's weird. So 370 16 touring. Yeah, we are producing that. Not sure why they produced only 285. That's an odd one. 16 sedan 350. Yeah. So we still have reserves, so it's not a big deal. 500 Phaetons. We have regularly reconditioned the factory, so this, if there is something happening, then we should get a message. This is very odd. So the sales have not changed, as we only have produced less for some unexplained reason. Because there's sometimes an event like there were issues with the part supply or something, and then yeah, so now things are back to normal, and we can probably let things build up again since we need the reserves. So more 16 Sedan LX. Best microcar, otherwise we aren't the best, but we're selling well. So more 16 Sedan LX. I need to sunset the full-size sedan. And less 18 Touring. So 18 Sedan, that's the old one. So 100. So let's see how the new one sells. It might not sell much better than the old one, but it's simply avoiding age-related penalties that we're going to get in the future. So the Australis 32. Yeah, we got rid of all the existing 18. So it had the sales potential of 300 something, so 350 maybe. Put it up for sale. Apeson has, I think they had, did they always have two? One is cheaper, one is more expensive. We're actually holding up pretty well with now our type rating having dropped. Nicely low unit costs, but it should be more expensive than the full-size sedan, which is so something like this. We're slightly worse, so we have to be slightly cheaper. And I guess we didn't adjust the prices of this one, because simply it sold well enough. So we might actually sell considerably more. Well, let's see. Then again, we might not. This is sometimes a bit weird how this actually works. Okay, then let's end production. So the next up, so the Grand Coupe is on the medium wheelbase platform, and I think we can keep it there. So the Phaeton could be next, or I want to wait till stuff has become cheaper. So the next could be the pickup truck or the Touring. Let's have a look at the press first, what they think. So they've been waiting to see the newly released full-size sedan in person. And what's their opinions? It's not overly powerful, but it packs enough punch to get up and go. Okay, so the engine was a good choice. And torque is actually quite good. Average handling on the track. It's not the best features, but the bare necessities. Impressive cargo space. Nothing wrong with the build quality. Well engineered to be dependable. It's subpar fuel economy. Okay, so 17.4 is suddenly subpar for a full-sized. But this will of course change with the first engine overhaul, which we can do then in a few years. It's stout machines, and otherwise it has a lot going for it. Yeah, doesn't seem to have to do anything particularly wrong. So the other thing, let's just check the body fuel type demand, since a lot of things may have changed. So sedan is medium sized, so these two are medium sized. Touring is still quite important. Full size sedan is done. The coupe utility is new, and that also goes on the full-size platform, as does the pickup truck. Phaeton is very much on its way out. And yeah, the microcar is a bit of a lie, because it sells extremely well. What's the competition doing in terms of coupe utility or tourings or pickup trucks? So this market, wow, this market is full. 4 cars by GVO, which is a Hope C Mark, and 1 by Apeson. That's actually pretty insane. The other one would be the Touring. There we have the market to ourselves, sort of, because Hopesy can't supply. Yeah, it's simply on the market, but they can't supply. Pickup truck. There's the Apes and Esk, which they can't supply or sell anyway. How about Burnt All? It doesn't really matter, because Hopesy is everywhere, and here, so for the Coupe utility, you have these 4 cars. I just wonder what 0 sales means, whether no one wants them, or whether they simply have supply issues. We can nicely compete against this one. Touring. They have one with an insanely long name, but it doesn't sell that well. Yeah, so as Australian the Coupe utility would be, I think we should first stick to something that actually sells. How important are these cars? So we can look at the annual, because it's just January. So look at the annual stats. So the biggest income was the 18 sedan, I think because we sold it for that much, and since it's actually sold, so it's probably something we can then do as well, that we still have a pretty high price. Our micro is now on 2nd place, although we have to add up the 2 sedans, so that's 9. So the sedan would be in 1st place, and the 2 Tourings, which is similar, so also there. So I think simply in terms of the interest of the most important current seller, the next one should be the Touring. So that's what we're then going to redesign. So I'm not updating the components yet. They just should become a little bit more used. So Touring, 2 trims again. So long wheelbase chassis. So we use the 1924 engine, which still has 5 years left, as the lower trim, and then the 32 as the higher trim engine. Similar story here, we are using the 3-speed, despite being more expensive, as the base gearbox, and then the 4-speed for the upper trim. So here, do we have something new? So these still exist, but not for long. These are tiny, it's like more war SUVs something. This is our Phaeton, I think, since we said everything with the roof is going to be the Touring. This is a bit too large. Yeah, so this we only have this sort of speedster stuff. Let's just check whether we got some new Touring, some new Phaeton bodies that we then can, because that's one of the next things at some point. Nope, there is no selection of anything here. I wonder what comes next. So then we simply keep the, or simply pick another one of these bodies with a soft top for the Touring. There isn't that much evolution in terms of look and feel of that anymore. Okay. So, no. Yeah, 3-speed turbo drive, but the cheap engine. So this is the thing what we have. Yeah, the others 963, any of the others better. 928. This is even smaller, 847. 918, not really. So let's pick something different. Don't want to have a new body, same platform. So here we're doing the same thing since they're luxury, so I'm pulling the sliders down, but not that much, as I would do with a microcar, for instance. And then you can find out what they actually want. This goes middle class. Market demographic goes down. Unless... no, that makes things slightly better. But for $160 in material cost, so no. So they like performance, 33. Everyone likes reliability, 34. Right, 33 cargo, 35 cargo. Safety. A little bit. We get an improved overall score. So how much extra do they want for an uptick here? The material costs are pretty low, so that's nice. So maybe we leave it at this here, 33, 35. And then we have the better trim coming up, where we can then see what extra score we can make, and also how many extra score we get from the additional power from the better engine. Okay, this is also at the limit, nice. So fuel consumption are 15.8, 16 horsepower. Top speed of 69, nice. So if I say 16 touring, then it says car already exists. But it's a new platform, and the 18 touring also exists. So I'm switching to numbers now, so that makes it easy. And yes, one additional question is, do I need one additional trim? Because I had used the trim for competition. So let's save the sliders. Touring 34. I think I can probably better up looking in the mega menu each branch for touring. Can always develop a new touring in 4. We have the Hope Seesaw, which doesn't sell. Here we have the Burnt All Supering Boku. And here we have the Clairable Baja. Probably not really. So it doesn't hurt to make an additional trim. At the same time, it probably doesn't have much effect at the moment if there is only one competitor. So what I'm going to do, I only do creating one trim with the new engine. And the 3-speed with overdrive. On this new body, just for the sake of having a new body, and let me load the Touring 34 and play around with sliders to account for that this is the only model we're going to have. So 36, so we're getting more performance, not getting more out of reliability. Nothing out of comfortability. Cargo is the same, safety is the same, quality, probably something for an overhaul or so, and it's expensive enough. We'll probably aim this more for the upper middle. Maybe. So development pace, again 13 months for 1 million, 12 months for, yeah, not for 1.6 million, 14 months for 814, so I think 13 again is the sweet spot. So it's more expensive to develop than the full-size sedan. So 16.8 fuel economy, top speed 81. So that's our new 32 Touring. 13 months. Alright, then let's see how our full-size sedan sells for a bit of a lower price than before, but that was mainly because we had forgotten to lower the price. Yeah, tons of missed sales. So actually this is an extremely well-selling car for the lower price. So that's I think important insight. So it's worse, but only slightly, than the Apes and Peak and it sells more, and it could have sold way more. So since we have the production capacity, are we selling? Yeah, way below unit costs, but that works. So then the 32 needs to have 550 or 533 and make it a bit more expensive. So that's a nice seller right there. Let's just check out of curiosity. Top sales. Our microcar made the top 50 vehicle sales again. Not quite the first page, but still. So this is a nice surprise. How did all the other companies do? Who's making a profit? A couple more are now starting to make a profit. None of them we know. And we are still among them, so 5 million plus. Who's worse off? Catty, 73. They might or might not have bought that mark. Probably not. That's a bit low price for buying a mark. With 87 left in the cash. Doubles is probably toast with 40 million losses and 8.5 million in the bank. Yeah, so how about our competitors doing? Hopesy has tons of cash, doesn't make a profit. Jameson Farewell, same, tons of cash, no profit. And Burnt All, lots of losses, but also lots of cash. Okay, so no immediate changes there. So we get our Touring in 12. So I can reduce a few things. Phaeton sales are dropping. No competition. It has dropped at the beginning of the year. Do we get the age penalties already? Yes. So that's then we're next on the list. So nothing really we can do. So we need to make less Phaetons. That's 300. 266. Let's see. No. Probably a bit too much reduction. So let's do it this way. More pickups. 400. We have missed sales for the 16 Touring, so 500. Micro 8 is also selling well, 700. And our 32 sedan is also doing very well. I'll leave it at that. Shall grow slowly. 16 sedan, 450. But that one's still holding up pretty well. Rest is fine. So Touring in 11. And next, probably Phaeton. Okay, bit of a slump. As usual with these fluctuations, but at least we're building up reserves where we need them. The cash flow is down to about break even, but we're still rebuilding our factory, and also, yeah, the car development project is pretty expensive by now. Can make a few less Grand Coupes, 200. That's a bit low overall, but maybe not the most fancied type of cars. And some competition. The Apes and Kildwick, I think, is new. Not that they are selling any due to supply issues. The type rating dropped. Might be our oldest car that we have, so that's maybe something where we could give it a bit of a makeover. sell it more cheaply, because we are nicely over unit costs. So maybe something like this, so that we're making more. Okay, more pensions. Let's check our pension fund, just for a change. So we're selling a few more of our Grand Coupes, that's fine. Phaeton down to 300. Okay, now's the time to cut the production line, probably. Plenty of reserves there. 350 16 sedans. And 250 16 sedan LX. 416 Touring. Others are doing fine. Unit cost 207. Yep, so still okay. So pension funds. Auckland commercial fleet, new contract. Yeah, pension funds is doing okay. They want a limousine, and we don't have one. So 500 cash flow, 500,000 cash flow in a non-tax month is good. Sales have picked up again. Nothing is in danger of depleting our reserves, so that's okay. New Touring in 7. $300 Grand Coupes, so that was just a normal slump. Or 262 Grand Coupes. Can make it more expensive too. Nah, next time around. One change at a time. 350 Phaetons. $350 pickups. $300 Sedan LX. $318 Touring. $600 microcars. How's our 32 doing? Yeah, already in the green. Very nice. It's holding its own against the Apes and Peak despite being more expensive. Negative cash flow, but this was a tax month. $416 sedan. Have to check the sedan market. How things are actually looking there. Apesen has now another one, the Apesen Soldier, but they're not selling anything. Just have stuff listed for sale. So I need a couple more sedans. At least things are looking upward in general. 350 LX. And 450 standard sedans. 400 pickups. Touring in 4. I can make the Grand Coupe a bit more expensive. I don't want to put a second production line on the older platform. And 700 microcars. Rest looks fine. Touring in 3. Need more 32 sedans. Still best microcar in the world. No contract for us. No competition close by. Okay, that's the other production line. Easy. That looks like a market exit. 450 16 touring. Rest is fine. I think I'll leave everything. Okay, tour next month, so I can sunset both tourings. So that's 100 for the 18 and 300 for the 16. That's a lot of news. So both tourings are gone. That's great. 650 microcars. What I should do is factory is done. Okay, I have to redo everything anyway, so perfect timing. 650 microcars. $630 works too. 636, 619. Yeah, let's see how these things fare. So together we had 500 plus 800 tourings. So I'm making 800 tourings. It will probably be less, but I don't know. So let's put them on the market for, yeah, somewhere in between the two old ones. So maybe closer to here and then see what happens. So touring is really good score-wise. So I have to read the press, but I think this makes sense. So 260 Grand Coupes. Or a bit more. So that's, yeah, so here the upgrade was very helpful. 380 Phaetons. 250 compacts. 400 pickup trucks. Now for some it works, for others it works less well. 516 sedan. At least we have some leeway for some. And 300 sedan LX. And I think that's all. Yeah, so that was the adjustment. So we can discontinue build old Tourings. Research complete. Factory redesign. Let's check the sales numbers. There's now the subcompact. There's the semi-automatic, which we can't design yet. So let's end production. I suppose I ended both Tourings. No, there was I put something. Put the Phaeton out of production. I didn't want that. Tourings were here. So to put the Phaeton back into production, I guess. Phaeton 400. And put it back on sale, although I don't remember for... it remembers because there was... and I'm a bit below the unit costs. There were still some in reserve. Okay, that works. So what's the oldest thing we have? It's... Okay, the Grand Coupe gets a quick facelift. So that its value is back to normal. When do we get age penalties on the medium-sized platform stuff? So that's in 1929. That's okay. So that's the next thing that we have to do. Platform is fine. Is this... What's the newer engine? The 9395cc. That's correct. We can put the new gearbox in. 3-speed with overdrive. We keep the style, because this is just a minor facelift to keep things current. So I don't think we need to change that much. A little bit more reliability gives an extra point. Could even go for... No, this doesn't... This does something. So overall 32, 34. And let's do it in 4. So it's still the 16 Grand Coupe. Okay, that's a bit of a no-brainer. What does the press think about the new Touring? So it's adequate in terms of engine power, so it's not high performance. So again, good choice of engine. Torque is fine, but not spectacular. It's above average in terms of handling. Interior is below average, but comfortable enough for short rides. Cargo space is great. It's not exactly well made. It's one of the more reliable vehicles. The fuel economy isn't great. That's maybe something we should do now as a revamp for when we put our big engines into something else. If safety priority isn't the best on the market, but better than a lot of the vehicles, so overall they love it. One other thing that could be worth checking is, so we made a lot of microcars. How much cheaper can we make them? No, not many. Overall $20, that's not much in terms of make or break. Same for the compact car. 363. Our microcar is more expensive to make than the compact car. That's wrong. Compact car also we can get some slight benefit, but not much. So beginning of the year, how is the microcar doing? Or how our car's doing? Yeah, so the microcar is still in there, 7,900 in the top sellers, but it's on its way out. So every other company is now picking up steam again. So lots of negative profits, but many of them simply bought another mark. That's usually these high negative profits. Bailey Motors may be dead. Catty also. And these as well. So they either then vanish or are bought. Gotac still exists for some reason. Positive profits. This is some weird stuff. I guess AI crutches. But a couple of genuinely profitable companies. We are still on the first page with just 3 million, but I think we had both the factory cost and the development costs. So let's have a look at our sales charts. So the micro is slowly dropping off actually. Our 32 sedan worked really well the last months. Let's just check whether we had a market exit there, because this is usually a sign of a market exit. And the rest is hanging in there. The 16 sedan, it's on its way up, interestingly, despite being 5 years old. So full-size sedan markets. No, the Apson exists. And I think did Hopesy have one? I don't know. All right. So we know what to do. And so to see how well the new Touring sells and whether we should make another trim to keep the sales up, that's then all something for the next episode. See you then.